Hey guys, G4T, 10 o'clock at night here, and I was having a conversation with my daughter about different themes in life, different paths that we take. You know, do we choose our own paths? Are we enslaved by society and culture to take certain paths, certain expectations of us? And it was very interesting seeing what goes on in her mind, and it kind of made me question the paths I take. And I've been really meditating and ruminating about this for the last 6 months, kind of hoping to a higher power that, God reveals my path somewhat. And that is a big part of who I am, in that I am looking for a higher calling, and a higher purpose as far as where my path is taking me, where it's going. And sometimes I can't see the path that I'm supposed to be on. And some people, actually, a commenter said, when you can't see your path, that's a good thing, because that means you're blazing a new trail. But that is one of my major anchors of my life that helps me move forward, is what do I feel that God is calling me to as far as the direction I take. And then kind of on a lesser extent, where my spouse, my wife is, and that determines my path. And then of course my children, family, friends to a lesser extent. Where are they? How am I in relation to them geographically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, and how we are all together moving forward. And then there's another part of that I think I've been having the most change from, is kind of society's expectations, cultural expectations, of where I should be going, what everybody else seems to be doing, and then really analyzing that and understanding that. And mixed into that is there's a society and culture that is local and propagated by the media, the mass media, and then there's kind of another society and culture that's kind of developing here on the internet sporadically. And then really assessing your relationship to those two types of cultures. I think a majority of the people that follow me are kind of libertarian, freedom-based people, choose your own path, kind of almost anti-typical societal values. And that's given me a lot of courage to make the decisions I have to, we're just talking about moving forward in society, giving me the courage to move forward with, 5 years not having a job, not having a mortgage, not having rent, living a very frugal-based lifestyle, tiny home living, traveling, hiking, going to the beach, having long talks with friends, thinking about things philosophically. That's really given me the courage to go forward in those pursuits and not get bogged down in a lot of things that I'm not really technically interested in. And those things keep coming up. Like the full-time job is great if you feel that that's where you want to be. But if that's not where you want to be, then it's actually taking you away from other pursuits of where you're going to be more happier or that you're more interested in. The same thing can happen with business opportunities. I think we were talking about getting back into real estate, and I was in it. I've been in it for so long, and I was like, you know what? I could make a good living in real estate, but it's just taking me away from where I want to be. And I don't even have an exact idea of where I want to be. All I know is I want to be in a situation where I'm experiencing not only my children, my faith, my family, but also as much freedom as I possibly can experience. And when you study freedom and you study the history of freedom in man, it gets very obtuse and kind of difficult to get your hands around. And so I think, like it goes into natural law and Thomas Locke, and it goes into like Greek and Roman teachings on freedom, and it gets really, really confusing in the sensibility that we're trying to define something that is actually natural, that man's state of being is a creature of nature experiencing freedom. And I tend to go back, I try to go back like 100,000 years and imagine what were the thoughts and feelings that man had at those times where, he had absolute freedom, ownership of the land in such a way that there were territories, not necessarily specific ownership of properties. One with nature, part of the system, but at the same time using the system. So in some ways, kind of getting back to the hunter-gatherer roots of, the nomadic lifestyle that seems to call me. Being close to nature, being close to people. That's the main thing I think we're missing with society. So much is just being told to us that I think that's what is interesting with YouTube, is that even though I'm kind of preaching here to you guys or talking to you, there's still that opportunity for the back and forth dialogue that what you guys say to me in videos or commentary can affect me. And it's this back and forth thing that I think is so natural to human beings, but that is so lacking in modern day society. I mean, so many of our interactions, from the workplace to government to social groups, is so artificial that people aren't really being their true selves. And I think the human in us yearns for those campfire talks about how we're going to go out on the land and get what we need to survive. And I think that's part of what's missing in our society and culture quite a bit. So to replace that, I think what we have is a lot of artificial kind of wants and needs and desires pressed onto us. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of predatory consumer type behavior that's pushed onto society. And as you get frugal and you kind of detach yourself as much as you can from materialism, and you start to question what money means in your life, you start really questioning the underpinnings of society. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I was thinking about this, trying to explain to my daughter, how I'm choosing the path in life. And I get kind of philosophical sometimes too much, and I apologize for that, guys. But it's really great to be able to just open up to thousands of people and just kind of tell them what's on my mind. And some people have said I'm not growing, I'm kind of stagnating. And that may be the case. And what I'm hoping for and praying for is that stagnation isn't one that is going to be detrimental, but that it's kind of like a waiting period. I believe in that sometimes you're waiting. And I felt like I was waiting a lot the last 6 months, and it's kind of sparked in me the last month or two of where I'm headed. And it's more of a direction of kind of seeking morality and seeking goodness and trying to get away from the negative forces. And you guys know what I'm talking about. There's negativity, and there's the collapse, and there's the reality all over us. But when you seek the light, I think that's one of the things we need to do, is we need to focus on the good, focus on the positive. And that's why I have the fun with the collapse stuff. If you guys haven't figured some of it out, it's fun times. It's making fun of the, laughing at death, in the face of death. That's basically what the idea is. So I apologize for this long video, but I thought I'd talk about that. What do you guys think? How do you guys choose your path in life, where you're at? I know a lot of you are dealing with a lot of different issues, health issues, job issues, family issues. Some people are turning to alcohol, some people are turning to drugs, some people are turning to pain meds, some people are turning to God, some people are turning to spouses, some people are predatory on the on other people. There's just a lot of things going on. And being involved in YouTube and just reading the comments and interacting with you guys really opens you up to just, man, it's like all of humanity is here, just in its glory or lack of glory. And I'm wondering what you guys think. How do you guys move forward here? How do you move forward? What direction are you moving forward? And what are your justifications for moving forward? I know there's a couple people that have gone through some job losses that are really trying to evaluate and reevaluate. I think our society, for the last 50 decades plus, has engineered the male to be so attached to the corporate grind. Now that is kind of crumbling and falling to pieces, I think we're having a situation where men are starting to lose their identity. And how can we create something where we get our identity back and it's not necessarily associated with, going to a corporate gig? How can we get our identity back? By just being ourselves. Peace out, guys. God bless. Sorry for the long video.